Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Charles Abels, local photographer in and around Prescott Valley, Arizona. I hope you enjoy this presentation. Hello and welcome to another episode. Today is not necessarily really a busy day, but today I decided to deem it a fun day. We're going to try some new things for me, and so therefore I'm going to have some fun doing it. I hope you do as well. How do I plan on having fun today? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's very simple. I'm going to take 20th century technology and work on a 21st century computer. Yeah, how am I going to do that? Well, this is a Leica SL2, manufactured in the 21st century, probably in the last couple of years. I don't have the exact date, but I do know that I have a Summaron lens mounted on the camera. It's a Summaron f2.8 35mm focal length lens that I plan to use with this camera. This will be the first time in greater depth playing with a mechanical lens on this camera, and I plan to have fun with it, exploring to see what I can do. It's very phenomenal. It's actually, I'm actually excited about it. This lens, as an example, it was manufactured in 1958. That was the year of my birth. And so I'm wanting to see how a mechanical lens works with a 21st century camera to create what I hope is some beautifully awesome photographs. We're going to do it in Prescott, and maybe stop off along the way home here afterwards and see what else I can grab with it. Let me talk to you about how I'm going to set this up. Now, of course, you need some things. I have an adapter here, an M-lens adapter to mount onto a TL mount camera, and I do this using the Urth adapter. I'm surprised, very inexpensive, but it works awesome. That's the first thing, lens adapter. Secondly, there are some things that you have to remember. Now, I plan on, when I'm walking around in Prescott, setting the f-stop mechanically on the lens, mechanically, let's be clear, on f8. When I'm in downtown Prescott walking around the square, depth of field isn't really important. So how do I set this camera? Well, let's take a few minutes. I'm going to hit the menu button and highlight some things. Now on the menu button, the one thing to keep in mind is, because this is a mechanical camera, it's not an autofocus or a mechanical lens. This is not an automatic lens, so I immediately set my camera manual focus. So I have to remember to set this, the focus, all the time manually, or I can do the focus zone if I wish. I may do both when I'm walking around. Other highlights. Well, aside from keeping in fact in mind that you're going to go manual focus, which I set my camera, the only other consideration is I got the ISO set to 400. I went to white balance, auto white balance. Sensor format, I went into 35mm mode. And the photo aspect ratio at 3:2. There isn't really much that you need to do. Just mount the mechanical lens, the old lens, mount it on the camera, and just remember that when you photograph with it, you're going to have to remember that you're going to go manual focus. You're going to have to do all the focusing yourself. So that is the plan today. And we're going to see what kind of beautiful works we can get from the 20th century and the 21st century. I hope it turns out well. Without further ado, let's go. I'm very much impressed with the photographs I got, and I hope everybody that watched this channel, or this particular episode, is too. But before I go on with the highlights, what I'd like to do is I like to, how can I say this? Everything that I did today, referencing this mechanical lens and this digital camera, I done on my own. I didn't read anything about it. I didn't watch YouTube channels to find out how to do it. I just did it, and I like to think that I did it using common sense. So, having said that, everything that you do with this, you're going to do at your own risk. Everything that I'm telling you is everything that I did. It's not a standard, stand pat, how to, where for all. It's just what I did. So keep that in mind should you try this. Now the highlights. Let's recap what I did. When you set your lens on your camera, first thing you ought to do is go to your modes and set it as an aperture priority. In this particular case, all day today, pretty much all day today, there was a couple of shots that I adjusted my f-stop, but everything downtown today was set at f8. The second thing you need to consider is manual focus. Set your camera up in manual focus. You're going to do one or two things. You're going to have to remember to either focus the camera when you bring it up, or set your camera, your lens, to a zone focused. I did a combination of both. Most of it was on a zone focused. That way I could bring the camera up and just shoot without worrying about focusing. I also ended up using two different ISOs, and it depended on what I was trying to achieve. I went to ISO 50 when I wanted to catch the bicyclist pass me by. I wanted to track, follow them, and the purpose of that was to try to catch the bicycle as sharp as possible, but have everything in the background blurred, creating a sense of movement with the picture. And the other ISO setting that I used was 400. We'll just say that it was my general purpose as I walked around the square to take photographs with. ISO 400, f-stop at f8. I let the camera do the work with the f8 aperture and the two different ISOs. I let the camera do the work to determine what shutter speed it needed to get me the best possible picture. So, we set it to aperture priority, we set it to manual focus, we determine what ISO we want to use. We let the camera do the work. And really, that fundamentally just sums it up in how to do this. And like I said, I'm very much impressed with the results that I got. And I hope you are as well. We could just say I discovered a new arsenal to add to my photography that is, well, in my opinion, very wicked. 20th century lens. This particular lens manufactured in 1958. Next thing I might try to do is throw on a 1931 Leica thread mount lens on there and try an older lens. We'll deal with that later. So, having said that, if you like my channel, please subscribe down below. And without further ado, and until next time, we'll catch you later.